We often get asked, what does ag tech look like in practice? So the Soil Wealth ICP team is down at the Victorian Vegetable Innovation Days, having a look at some of this in action. From precision sprayers through to cultivators and harvesters, it's all here. Some of the key things we're asking is, what problem does that solve for growers now? How does it fit into their production system day to day? And is it commercially available and ready for them to use?
We're the importer of the Kilter AX1, which is a product that's been designed, tested, and built in Norway. First of its kind down here in Australia, and that it's really unique with the new technology and camera technology that's on the machine. It's the first green-on-green application sprayer in the market for vegetables. So green-on-green is essentially being able to spray application and targeted application in crop. So it differentiates between the crop type and then targets specifically the weed that they're trying to eradicate in their program.
This is 300 kilos. It's a self-propelled autonomous machine, so it's going to drive by itself, and you really only need a tractor or a side-by-side to drag it around the farm to the individual crops.
We've got 6 cameras that are in underneath the machine, and we then feed it the algorithm and or the classifier so that it knows what it's looking for and or in this case what it knows to avoid. And then essentially everything outside of that classifier, it's applying some chemistry to. And then we have a very unique platform as well on the nozzle side of the application as well, where instead of it being a conventional single nozzle, it's actually single droplet control. So each camera then has got control of 42 droplets per section, essentially. And so instead of blanket applying, it's very targeted on specific droplet and also surface area of the weed. There's no off-target spraying. It allows you to go and hit a very small ryegrass, not going onto the soil. If it's going onto a broadleaf, it'll go and then engage more droplets to go and hit a bigger target, but nothing goes and essentially falls onto the ground.
It really comes down to the individual weed load within the crop. So perhaps the worst we've seen is working in organics, where we have a massive weed load and the only tools available to an organics grower is a hoe. And so what the machine's doing is putting a droplet every 6 millimetres. And if it was at a full rate, it would be 278 litres a hectare, would be the full flush type rate. But generally speaking, we would be around the sort of 4%, 5% application on first pass. So as we come back over the same crop a week later, we could be down sub 4% application. So massive chemical saving, but really from a soil health perspective, a lot of the growers who are interested in this sort of technology are wanting to get away from pre-emergent herbicides and just purely using a post-application knockdown, and not doing it once but doing it weekly to try and get that early flush of weeds coming through before the canopy closure.
If it's a very high profitable crop that it's going into, well, scale is really on what sort of returns that grower is seeing, per hectare, really. So it can go in anything that's, sub 100 hectares to plus 100 hectares. So it's really up to the type of crop that it's going into from a scalability and ROI perspective.
It's hybrid, so it's got a petrol generator, which creates electricity, puts it in the batteries, and then all the wheel motors are electric drive, and of course electrics to the cameras as well, and electrics to the nozzles.
If weed load's light, that diesel generator will essentially go and last 8 to 9 hours or 10 hours at a time. It's a lot of software sort of base servicing that goes on, which is really easy because it's a system that, even though it's shut down, it can still be having software updates sent to it over the night when it's not in use. The grower then can come back the next morning and there will be adjustments and upgrades and software adjustments that sort of are made on the go. Almost the way that we plug our iPhones in at night and wake up in the morning and it's, 2.0 has just arrived. So
they're a little bit like EV cars. Yeah. There's just not the servicing required as to traditional diesel and petrol engines. The machine's already been used for quite a number of years in Germany, Sweden, Norway, a little bit into the Netherlands as well, Denmark as well. So we've got quite a bit of experience from over there. We had been running these in Australia since February last year. We've had 3 machines. One's with New Farm Chemicals, and they're doing a lot of the trial work for us and helping to build the algorithms to target Australian soil type, Australian weeds and Australian crop variants.
So I have a DJI T50 Agris drone to do crop spraying. The ability with the drone with the downforce allows a bit of turbulence in the crop leaf, and we get a contact both sides with the downward force pushing the droplets down into the ground, as well as when it gets wet like this time of year, the drone leaves no footprint in the paddock. So we're not chopping up headlands, we're not splashing crops in furrows, we're not we're not creating puddles, we're not doing anything. There's no disturbance whatsoever, no compaction. Rates often are the same rate applied by aircraft as they are by tractor or by boom. So it's the same, we just use a far lesser water rate per hectare. So we use a lot less water. At about 90 litres a hectare, I do a hectare in about 10 minutes. So provided you can fill your tanks up fast and refill your hoppers and things like that, you could definitely spray a 100-acre farm in a day, no problem, if you're efficient in your filling process. At times, the weather won't allow you to use it for a period of time, so you might need to use your tractor sometimes if there's a bit of wind, but definitely it can cut your work time in half for sure. The DJI machine has software updates come out semi-regularly. It's up to you when you want to adopt them. You do have to, but I like to wait a little bit just to make sure there's no faults that you see online or things like that. I would say as long as there's no overhanging trees that overhang your boundaries of your blocks or things like that, and your sprinklers weren't really high off the ground, things like that. But if there's no obstacles, there's really nothing else you need to do to be drone ready, so to speak. It is definitely getting adopted more and more.
Carbon Robotics were founded in 2018. We've worked through a few different guises of the laser weeder, from where we began with an autonomous unit to basically a 3-bed unit. As we grew and got into our international markets, we came with the Gen 2. So in essence, what we're using is AI and lasers to basically target and shoot weeds. So in this spinach crop here, the spinach is probably a little bit more mature than what we'd like, but basically what we're able to do is to be able to target weeds in and around crop. We don't disturb the soil. The other thing is to, even using this as an example, there's no pre-emergent, no post-emergent herbicides. We don't get the reseeding effect you might get with traditional or typical methods. So we're seeing weed pressure drop off over time. We've seen some growers eliminate weeds like shepherd's purse from their farms altogether. So outside of the soil health aspect of it, we're also seeing one of our growers has reported reducing their herbicide use by up to 70%. They don't think 100% is possible, but that's ultimately their goal, to get to 100% reduction. We're seeing healthier crops as well. So in lieu of not having that checking process that you would have with traditional methods, we're seeing crops that are being harvested earlier. We're seeing crops that are larger, healthier, but also we're seeing just a general improvement in yield as well. It's ranging from really 5% up to 25%, depending on the application. The other cool feature of the G2 is just having the ability, we can build the unit out. This is our single bed demo unit. We can build this out to 3-bed as well. So we can actually adapt it depending now on the farms. We've got the ability, obviously, to weed where herbicide resistance might be a problem as well. So herbicide resistant ryegrass is another great example of where the laser weeder is really effective. We've laser weeded in 130 plus crops. We've got 150 million plant labels. So we've been building our data up over basically the last 5 or 6 years. So in what we feel, we've probably got one of the largest data ag sets in the world. They don't need a lot. The main thing is obviously a tractor. The tractor really just comes down to the size of the unit. So probably a minimum of 110 horsepower, could be up to about 145 horsepower, depending on the size of the unit. Something I probably do want to point out, it's not typical for us to have a diesel generator on the front. What we normally have is a genset that we supply, and we basically run the power off a generator that's driven by a front PTO. So a front PTO like tractor is a requisite, but in Australia, our demo unit runs with a diesel generator. We've got another grower who does it with an independent generator. So it's not the traditional way we would do it, but really that's about it. And from an operator perspective, it's really easy. Like we did a recent demo over in Western Australia with Bogdanich Farms. Michael Bogdanich, one of the owners, was basically driving the laser weeder within about half an hour of it being deployed. We've been laser weeding in Australia for 2.5 years. So we've got 13 machines across Australia and New Zealand. We've got 2 growers who have purchased their second machines. The unit's connected 24/7 via Starlink. If there is issues or just generally supporting with weeding quality and performance, we do it via our 24/7 support channel, which is just basically accessible through the iPad, our operator app. So yeah, as much as there's probably a lot of tech going on here, it's relatively easy to use. Just to change crops, it's a drop down between crops. In the case here at Taranto's last night, we set up a model in about 20 minutes. So a spinach model specific to what's happening in the field here, i.e. there's some nettle, there's a bit of broadleaf, there's some grass, and there's some mallow. So we can basically take 4 or 5 images of each weed and some of the crop at different stages of maturity, and we can train a model basically to work in anyone's field at any time of day.
What Polybee is doing is we're building a farm intelligence platform to enhance visibility and control in vegetable production. And how we do that is by using fully autonomous self-recharging drones that gather intelligence on every single plant in your farm. And with that visibility, you can make more informed decisions on harvest timing, yield forecasting, logistics, transportation, and so on. These drones are self-launching, self-recharging, and they do not require any user touch points at any stage. That's how we've built this product from ground up, because we understand that this is an important capability for the product to scale. The way we are playing a role in here is by providing visibility in terms of feedback, right? For instance, if you're trying a new input, how is that impacting the growth rate of your crops, the health of your crops, the yield that you can expect from it before actually finding out after the fact, right? Second is, I think, overall giving sort of a better ROI on all of your existing costs by recommending to you what's the best timing for harvest to get peak yield in your desired specs, right? And how we do that is by tracking the key metrics that characterize the quality of your produce. Now, for example, if it's baby leaf spinach, we track the size of leaves, we predict the growth rate, and we tell you what's going to be the best time to harvest it. Now, if you're able to get this right on more occasions than not, you will have a better ROI on all of your costs, including those for inputs, and therefore enhance your overall productivity in your farms. So that's the role that we see ourselves playing. One is through providing feedback on the inputs in terms of how your crop is performing, and second is getting a better overall ROI on all of your costs, including the inputs. The way we see our product create value for our customers is by playing the role of sensing and enabling actuation, which is the holy grail of precision agriculture, right? We want to close that feedback loop by firstly having very accurate sensing on the crop, and the sensing can be multifold. We are largely focusing on metrics related to growth and quality, which can therefore inform, what your actuation should be in terms of variable inputs. Polybee's headquarters are in Singapore, but we have an office here in Australia and Melbourne. Our farm intelligence platform is live and commercial in vegetable crops. We're proud to have some great customers in the state of Victoria and Tasmania as well, and some in South Australia. And what we have seen is time and again, our customers are able to reap significant ROI on our product, where they've seen yield uptick very consistently, by tracking the growth rate of their crops, understanding the stage of maturity more accurately than ever. And that's enabling them to have a higher average yield in their production, which is also changing their plans for the subsequent seasons, getting them to be more productive, again, getting a better ROI on all of their input costs as well. So that's the role that we've been playing commercially, and we're very excited to take this product to more and more growers in Australia. So we have a very clear policy. All data collected on our customers' farms is their copyright. The way we see our relationship with that data is to provide them insights on top of it, and help sort of ourselves to improve the product for our customers using that data. But the core ownership, copyright of farm data belongs to our customers. Our farm intelligence platform is currently up and running for spinach and broccoli. The next crop in the pipeline is lettuce, and we hope to introduce that product for lettuce later this year.
We have a machine that was developed in Switzerland and has now become available here in Australia and New Zealand for the last 8 or 9 months. It's a ultra-high precision sprayer that uses AI technology to detect a plant and apply chemical to either that or just a weed, obviously dramatically reducing chemical inputs and improving soil health and plant health benefits.
The machine is basically focused in the horticulture space. So we actually have different algorithms for different crops. So we still don't cover all the crops. We have a lot of the crops in the horticulture space, which we cover like lettuce, carrot, onions, leeks, cauliflowers, and another range of algorithm coming as well. So the machine basically identifies what's the crop and what's the weeds, and then it's what we call plant by plant spray. So it's gonna spray just the weeds, and that of course will cause less damage within the crop. And also, like for herbicides that are selective, you have way less the molecule in the soil, so you don't have that much. If you don't have that much organic matter to break all of those herbicides, you're just going to have like a few spots where the weeds are, meaning that we don't have that molecule on the soil basically. So we kind of need to capture context from the grower and then update that algorithm. Identifies what's the crop and what's the weed, and then we can use selective herbicides or non-selective herbicides. So you have more options, because we know in the horticulture space we don't have a lot of herbicides registered. So the option of using like a non-selective herbicides, for example, we have an option in the machine that we select what we call safety zone. It's kind of a buffer around the crop, and then that's not going to reach the crop. It's not going to damage the crop. So you have an extra option, not just selective, but also no selective herbicides to use. We do more targeted passes. On the broadcast spray, you probably have very specific timings where you do sprays. Sometimes even not, if you don't have a lot of weed population, you have a program where you follow that program. With this machine, once you have population, you spray. So depends on your weed pressure, really. So we have the 6-meter machine, and the company is of course growing, and in future probably have more customizable in different sizes. But at the moment, that's the only size we have.
We've had a lot of interest today. They're probably people that we have approached 5 or 6 months ago, or maybe seen us at a field day earlier. They've taken in the knowledge of what the machine is, and they've gone home and tried to work out how it's going to fit in their operation. And now they've come back with some more in-depth questions about what specific weed it could target, or if they have a crop algorithm upcoming that might suit a crop that they grow. What we actually have here today is a implement on the front of this machine called a side shift. Now that's a aftermarket part, and that's specific really for Victoria here, with the solid set sprinklers that are roughly 8 or 9 meters apart. And with the machine only being 6, this actually allows us to be a viable option here by slightly shifting the machine over and being able to cover the rest of the bay.
I'm part of the agronomy team, so I act as like a consultant that can help the grower to use the machine the best as possible, meaning that we have like different options of different herbicides depending on what the grower wants to achieve. And we also have like the supporting team in terms of if the machine breaks or if I have any problems with algorithm and software, we have people on the ground as well doing that.
Behind us here is our FSR 150 autonomous rover for agricultural and horticultural use. So we're really looking at this platform as to help farmers with managing labour and managing workloads and also managing inputs. So for example, in this scenario, we're looking at the rover to assist with spraying. And then we're also going to look at spot spraying, but we also see it as a platform, multifunction platform that can also capture data on every pass so that we can actually look at it from an overlay to say whether crop health, productivity and general performance of in-farm productivity, and also enabling farmers to make better decisions from the day-to-day. We want it to be able to do anything from seeding post, so that could be cultivation. We could even put a laser weeder on it in the future. We see it as an adoptable platform that can have multi-function tasking to be able to cover multiple areas of the production cycle. It's not commercially available at the moment, but we're looking at this year launching, and we envisage it to be able to operate in teams and be able to operate with an auto refill station so that it'll be able to dock and then refill its tank and operate for a 6-hour period on the one battery, with also a manual battery exchange that can give it a morning, afternoon and evening shift. So it can really operate, you know, when the conditions are correct for operation for spraying, but also taking into account the day-to-day needs. The team, the guys who I work with, have developed military-grade autonomy, and they've looked at it from a point that we want to make sure that the systems are cost-effective and adoptable for industry, and we're taking that into market so that we're ensuring that the adoptability point is palatable for growers to scale that to their enterprise. We've had this prototype out on dairy farms and doing a fair bit on dairy farms, and we see that other than bed traversal, that a lot of what we're doing will be adoptable in the veg space as well. We're looking at all different types of wheel configurations, different types of boom iterations. So we're working with Sylvan Australia and ARAG to look at different spraying technologies, but we want to partner in with other industry partners and growers to look at their challenges and integrate different technologies that are going to cost effectively manage their problems at hand.
So we've heard a lot around the AgTech innovation. Some of the soil and plant health benefits that can deliver for growers include reduced herbicide use, reduced diesel use, which is really important given the current geopolitical climate, and reduced labour, always a big cost on the bottom line for growers. Stay tuned for further videos from the Soil Wealth ICP team. Head over to the website and socials for further information, and we'll see you at the next event.